Welcome to Not Dead Yet's Music Week, 11th of April.
Yeah.
I'm Dan.
I'm Lee.
Okay, so what have you been listening to this week?
What
you.
have I been listening to? Me?
You.
What have I been listening to? I've listened to actually a new album by a band that I like and that we've seen actually together. A Place to Bury Strangers.
Oh God, we have seen them.
We have seen them. They were loud
and completely incongruous with the band they were supporting.
See, like basically, A Place to Bury Strangers is very kind of like noise, Jesus and Mary Chain, My Bloody Valentine-y sort of.
I would not compare them to them.
Really?
Noise, I'd agree with.
Noise.
I didn't dislike them, but it's like white noise on crack.
Live, they are an assault.
Yeah,
assault on your ears. I mean, I've seen
and on
them.
your eyes because they played the entire set with a strobe on.
Yeah, well, this is the first time I saw them was a tiny place in East London called the Legion, where I later put on gigs at that stage, and it was just like this abusive noise to your ears, just like feedback and like wash of guitars and white noise. And then the first two albums were really good. I saw them, then we went to see them at the Forum, I think, supporting MGMT, who I wasn't bothered about seeing at all, but A Place to Bury Strangers I really liked.
Yeah.
And then I saw them again at Heaven in London.
Right.
And the only time it's ever happened, I've had to leave the gig because I felt like I was going to be sick.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
The lights were doing that, and I was stood by the PA, and I was just like, and I had to have the dots, and I was going, and I was waiting, and I was like, I've never had that. I've been doing a lot of loud gigs, and I had to leave. But then on record, there's more melody. It's much more. On record, it's much more.
Because like when we saw them support MGMT, there were loads of teenage girls in bright neon leggings waiting to see Fluffy Poppy MGMT, and halfway through A Place to Bury Strangers set, I remember turning round and looking at how everyone else was reacting to this, because it was pretty much like about 5 people, including you and I, just stood in the main sort of stalls bit where the standing area, and I turned around and just saw all of these like teenage children looking like they're on the verge of tears, just like.
I think that so much noise, the force of noise coming from the stage, tears are just blown away.
No, I know. Yeah, it was pretty. It was a visceral experience.
Well, I really like them, so this is their 4th album, and it's called Transfiction.
Right.
And to be honest, I was disappointed.
Oh, okay.
I think bands always going to be compared to their early records, and I found it a little bit more pedestrian.
Okay.
It's still the same. The first album, self-titled album, is just this noise. When we saw them, would have run out. They probably had their second album written and due, or certainly written, I think actually, but not necessarily due. But it was this huge noise, and then the Exploding Head was the second album, and that kind of had more of the poppy undertones, and it is kind of like your My Bloody Valentine-y sort of Jesus and Mary Chain sort of thing, just but heavier, louder. Because it's not. It's noise, but it's not noisy necessarily. If you know what I mean. It's not like say where we talked about metal, where it's like rah, rah, rah. It's not like that. It's just this controlled force of noise.
Yeah,
like this wall.
I mean, that really is a wall of noise.
Yeah, it is a wall of noise. And then their third album, Worship, again, it kind of went a bit more like it kind of like not toned down. It's just more like melody. And I think this has done the same thing. And I've listened to it quite a few times this week, and it's on Dead Oceans, which is a really good label. I think it's associated with Jaguar, which is a really good label, and secretly Canadian. I think they're all kind of intertwined. I could be wrong, but I think they're all intertwined. Yeah. All really good, interesting, kind of noisy indie rock sort of stuff. Or some of it just indie. It was good stuff. And I just felt that it plodded, and I've listened to it, and it's dark. It's kind of like gothic tinged noise, if you like. Okay. So it kind of like a gothic tinge, Jesus and Mary Chain meets My Bloody Valentine. But there's also lots of suicide, like early suicide in there. I don't know if I don't know anything about that. Like it's New York No Wave band, Alan Vega and Martin Rev, who are really, I really like. First album is great, and it kind of like they were like these early purveyors of electronic music and guitar rock music, and they kind of early purveyors of this. And I think that the Place to Bury Strangers draw in on that, and there are elements to that in this. But I just feel it doesn't deliver. But because I like the band, and I kind of like will continue.
So is this a new album?
It's a new album, just come out this week or last week. And I kind of want to like it, so I think I'm going to have to give it more time. I want it to work. But interestingly, the Place to Bury Strangers' trajectory in the UK has gone from the Legion, the 200 capacity, to playing supporting MGMT and then I saw them at Heaven,
Mm.
which is quite a big venue,
Yeah, it is,
couple thousands.
Yeah, I'd have thought so. Yeah.
And then I saw them again, and they played the Shackle Alarms about 2 years ago, which is a pub, basically in East London, and that's got to be like 150.
Right.
And they played Oslo in Hackney, either coming up or just played. That's probably about 200. So it's the last two records haven't been as potent as the first two. So is that the reason? I don't know, but that's what I've been. That's the main record.
And what about these gigs that you've been to?
So a couple of gigs. I went to a gig in the Windmill in Brixton with two of them, but one of them were new to me. 3 bands. Ventenner, who kind of like industrial. 9 Inch Nails meets early Marilyn Manson. So that
sounds hideous.
Oh no, it's really good.
Yeah.
Guy used to be a solo electronic act, dark electronica, and then he's kind of got a band now and it's just got more force.
Okay, right, yeah.
And it's really good. And they were joined on stage by a guitarist from another band I really like called Little Death Machine. The guitarist his name Daniel Green, and he's the singer and guitarist. And they just released their first single on the label, so they're quite new. Ventenner have had a couple of albums, and his shouty vocals go well with get his control post-punky industrial thing. A band called MERRIN, who were this kind of like droney film cinematic doom.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like John Carpenter.
Okay.
I've seen him before. I've seen him as a duo on his own a couple of times, and as a band. He writes his own and films his own B movies.
Okay.
And plays
and scores them.
Scores them.
Right, yeah.
And also I've seen him do cover sets that include like Phantasm and Terminator.
Yeah.
And another band called Parva Hinton with this kind of like really punky band, future punk sort of band, who they were really like good fun to watch live.
Yeah.
And also I went to see wasn't something I wanted to go and see, but I went to see James Bay.
Who's James Bay?
James Bay is he won the new Brit Award newcomer, sort of long-haired, floppy-haired.
Is he a folky
white
singer-songwriter?
So more soul. Got comparisons like James Morrison.
I don't know who James Morrison is.
It's a good thing.
Really?
He's just no. And it was at Shepherd's Bush Empire. So he'd sold out Shepherd's
Bush.
I love
that venue though.
I can't stand it.
Really?
I don't like it. I've been there quite a lot recently. Never been a fan. I just never been a fan.
Do you know why I like it though?
Why?
Because the way that it's laid out means that there's loads of room between the bar and the back.
Oh yeah,
I can stand there and I can see.
That's the best bit at the back.
Yeah.
Where you got this.
I don't go
platform.
down into the standing area.
At the platform, you got a platform in the back. I had seats for this gig, but there's a platform at the back behind a mixing desk. They've got a mixing desk, the bar, and then it's platform. No one stands there. No. If you stand there, you can see above everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
And
it's the only place I get to actually see the band that I've gone to see.
Yeah.
So I'm quite fond of that venue for that reason.
But he was a bit dull. It came out with like all these kind of like Zeppelin-esque.
Why did you go and see that?
The wife really wanted to go, and she said, "You've dragged me to enough shit gigs in our time that you need to come to something I want to see."
Yeah.
And I was being optimistic, to be fair. He was just a bit. He's had one album. He can't play for an hour. He's got one album. You can't interest people enough. And I would say that about bands that I love. Yeah. You can't play for an hour if you've got one. Can't play for an hour if you've got one album.
Well, you could just do your album.
Well, yeah, but play for an hour.
Yeah.
40-minute album.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
But he's since sold out Somerset House and Brixton Academy.
Really?
Later in the year.
Wow. So he must be
he's big
popular.
Now. #1 album.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I will never hear that.
And there was lots of women there. And I've been to loads of gigs and there's been beer thrown around. I've never had beer dropped on me other than these excited women upstairs.
Oh, really?
James Bay. I guess he's a bit hotty. He looks cool.
Okay.
So I got soaked in beer.
Oh.
So I wasn't at the best time. And then that happened.
That sounds awesome. Yeah.
What about you?
So I'm learning Japanese, and one of the things that you have to do if you're learning a foreign language in not the native country of that language is immerse yourself. Just swamp yourself with that language. And so I thought one of the ways I could do that is music.
Yeah.
So I was looking for Japanese music this week, and one of the things I stumbled upon is a genre of music called Enka, Enka.
Okay.
And that is kind of like traditional Japanese music, but modernised. Okay. Basically, what I can work out, it's probably a deeper explanation of that than I'm giving you. But it's, from what I can see, it is ballads.
Right, okay.
So it's like it's kind of like the thing that you would have found on Morecambe and Wise or the Two Ronnies in the sort of late 70s, early 80s, that kind of variety ballad.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Right,
And one of the artists I found, and this is crazy, and it's also, it's quite indicative of the way that whichever country you're in, and I'm assuming this is probably the same in a lot of countries, particularly I think in the West, is that we're quite insular about the music and, you know, films that we know about and stuff like that. You know, this woman that I discovered, her name is Misora Hibari.
Okay.
She died in 1989, but she had recorded 1,200 songs, and by 2001 she'd sold 80 million records.
Oh wow!
That's pretty big.
That's not bad.
Yeah,
that's not bad.
And I'd never heard of her. You know, I don't think anyone in this country really. Most people will have never heard of her, and I only found out about her because I was looking for Japanese music. Yeah. So one of her songs, this is the last song that she recorded just before she died. It's called Kawa no Nagare no Yuni, and that means like the flow of the river. And it's talking about how your life is and everything. Yeah. And basically, I can't listen to it without crying. I'm actually choking up now just talking about it.
I mean, do you know what it's about?
Yeah, I've got the translation of the lyrics now as well. But it's just the most beautiful melody and incredibly sad at the same time. Yeah, it's wonderful, but awful at the same time. You know, it's that kind of light entertainment ballad. But it's something quite magical about it anyway. So it's probably not for everyone. And but I really like it. I mean, she's so popular that since her death, they have a TV special every year where popular artists perform her song. Like even now still. And this song, Kawa no Nagare no Yuni, was voted Japan's best song in 1997.
Is it kind of like contemporary artists cover it as well, or older artists?
Yeah,
she's
everyone
like
does.
a national hero.
Yeah, exactly. Thing. That's it. Yeah, she won like some Medal of Honor and stuff like that. But it's just like a megastar that we've never heard of. You know, it's really, really strange.
She died quite young then. So what's?
Yeah, she was 52 when she died. Yeah.
What do you know?
I think she had some kind of necrosis that was caused by severe hepatitis, I believe.
Right.
So yeah, and I think I did a little bit of reading about her. Her life story seemed a little bit sad. She was an actress as well as a singer.
Okay.
Yeah, but just really, really interesting, and you know, it's opened up a whole world of terrible ballads that I'm going to learn, so that if I go to Japan, I can impress. Well, probably not impress. Maybe endear myself to Japanese people by singing them at a karaoke bar, because that apparently is one of the big things about Enka music.
Right.
Like I saw someone describe it as it's the music that Japanese businessmen allow themselves to cry with. So it's often a lot about things, you know, quite traditional themes, or about childhood loss or lost love and stuff like that. Okay. But it's also, you know, the big thing for karaoke that people will get up and sing Enka songs for karaoke. So
is it kind of like the version of Celine Dion?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, no, I guess so. Yeah, which is, you know, it pains me to even think about that. Yeah, but
well, let's look forward to.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. So yeah, I think I'll put we'll try and put a link to that.
Yeah.
And you can check that out for yourselves. It's a bit strange. So
excellent.
Let's talk about our album swats. So last week, Lee gave me Waxahatchee's Ivy Trip.
Yep.
And I gave you Minuteman's Resigned to Life. So how did you get on?
I think, as I said last week, I was aware of it, and I think I have listened to him before, and that would have been through you. I think it was during our William phase, though it doesn't sound like William.
Okay.
I think we were talking about. I think it's kind of. I mean, I didn't look. Normally, I would always look into acts, but I've literally based this on listening to music and not read anything.
Yeah.
I mean, they sound quite American, but they're British. Because they mentioned going down a pub and Diagnosis Murder.
Right. Okay.
They're one of the songs. I liked it. I didn't get blown away as much as I hoped I would. Okay. I really enjoyed it. I kind of felt that whenever I've listened to it, and I've listened to it a lot. I've listened to it at least 7 times.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not bad.
I've listened to it to and from work.
Yeah.
I mean 6-7 times at least. Yeah. And I like it. I felt like as the album kind of went on, I probably trailed off attention a little bit.
Yeah.
I really nice melodies. It did remind me of that kind of like, I really like that kind of jangly American indie rock.
Yeah,
and there's elements to that with it being quite British pop as well.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and I think they're kind of like Turing Break, Star Sailor-ish.
I wouldn't put them down as Star Sailor-y.
No,
I mean, no, Star Sailor a lot more. I mean, I like the first album. The second one's like dreary ballady, but I thought it was nice, really nice melodies.
Yeah,
I found nothing jumped out at me. The first couple songs I really liked. Nothing jumped out at me, but I did enjoy them, and I probably will go back and I will investigate them.
Yeah.
And I think that because I did enjoy it, but the more I listened to it, the more I became.
Yeah, okay.
But it's a shame because I good listen, and I think I need to investigate it more. But it's given me a good. That's my good.
Yeah, I mean, I really, really like that album. I like you say, the melodies, I think they're great. Some of the construction's good. It's a nicely varied album in terms of tone.
Do you think they could have been? I mean, I'm guessing it's around the 90s. I wouldn't be surprised if they were even fans of Dinosaur Jr. and Pavement, maybe. And that, or that
maybe,
kind of like,
but I mean, it's
different to that.
Yeah, if they were, then they really smoothed that out. Because there's nothing very untidy about that. There's nothing very awkward or jagged.
No, it's quite smooth. It was nice. I would investigate further.
Okay, cool.
And I'll now look into more about them.
So Waxahatchee, have you heard this album?
I listened to it and I felt bad for giving it to you.
Yeah, please. I'm glad you've acknowledged that.
I listened to it late this week and I was just a bit like. Sorry, Dan.
Yeah, so I have listened to that. I think I just scraped the 4 listens. The first track is not indicative of the rest of the album at all. I honestly found myself listening to it going, why the fuck have you recommended this?
I apologise.
Yeah, no,
I hadn't listened to it.
But it's kind of like, it really put me in mind of my grunge phase.
Right, okay.
There are a load of bands that sounded a little bit like that. Like, it was like she did a round tour of a lot of those bands and just sort of aped that. And her voice is a little bit annoying. It's kind of like Alanis Morissette trying to be Bjork.
Right, yeah, okay, yeah.
And yeah, it reminded me of, sometimes it reminded me of a shit version of the Meat Puppets.
Yeah.
There were little lemon heads things in there and stuff like that. It was just it felt like an album that was recorded and written, I would say, 20 years ago.
They're a bit hipster.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
But
that's kind of
I get that you kind of we look backwards to go forwards and stuff like that, but you've done that very badly there, Waxahatchee.
I mean, there is. I think I said when I recommended it. When I suggested that song, there was one on the first album. There's one song that I absolutely loved.
Right.
I think it was called Swan Dive.
Yeah.
And I think it's great. And then I listened to the album. And I was going, I'm not really bothered about the rest of this album. That's a great standalone song. Really good.
Yeah.
And then I listened to this and I was like, I feel bad.
Yeah, no, the first song is interesting.
Yeah.
Because it's quite unusual in style, and then everything else just seems really, really derivative. So that is I did not enjoy that album.
Yeah, I apologise.
So shall we crack on and do this week's album swap? Yep. What have you got for me?
Nah, that's tactics there.
Yeah.
There is, I've got a few in my mind, but I'm going to actually recommend an album I know. There's this artist I think I've tried to kind of push you onto a few times.
Okay.
But I'm going to suggest listening to Let Love In by Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
Now, there's about 4 albums that I was going to choose.
Yeah.
And I think that's not necessarily easy. It's not difficult, but that's one I think kind of crosses over of like various sort of stuff he does.
Okay.
I really like it.
Okay, I am going to give you... I've also got a few albums in my head that I was thinking about, and
based on me giving you Waxahatchee.
Okay, I'm going to give you an option. If you know this already, you don't have to do it.
Right.
I'm going to give you Bob Dylan's Desire.
I think I've got that.
Really?
I think so.
Do you know it?
I listened to it.
Okay.
I'm familiar with it.
All right, so you're not getting Bob Dylan then. You should have stuck with that, because I'm now going to give you Sage Francis's personal journals.
What? Yeah. Who? Sage?
Sage Francis.
Herdman.
Personal journals. That is your
diaries.
Yeah, that is your thing for the week.
I've not heard Bob Dylan. Who's he?
No, there you go. Yeah, you had your chance. Okay, that's it for us, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You can email us at hellonotdeadyet@gmail.com, and you can follow us on Twitter at hellonotdeadyet.
Yep.
I think.
That's the one. Yeah.
That's going to be on the screen somewhere there.
Yeah.
And subscribe to us on YouTube, and we'll keep doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. See you next week.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.